Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:07. It's 6:07 on this Thursday, the 18th day of September. Bethany Mandel and I for our weekly get-together so we can catch up, find out how the kids are doing.
I'm just inviting you over for Shabbat dinner during commercial breaks.
Me over to Shabbat. I get nervous, though.
What?
I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Oh,
I don't want to cross myself. And, if the food is good, like, Jesus, this food is good. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, that's what I say.
He's Jewish.
I say Jesus.
6:35, David Bozell from Media Research Center. It's 7:05, Chuck Thies, D.C. political analyst. 8:05, K.T. McFarland. And 8:35, Steve Moore, Heritage, on that Fed rate job. All right, a couple of things here. First of all, I'll remind you again, Jimmy Kimmel was not fired, by the way, for telling a joke. I'm sorry, indefinitely suspended by ABC. It's not because he told a joke that they didn't like. This wasn't even a joke, by the way. Understand, ABC has an obligation, believe it or not. We all have obligations. A lot of people would love our show to sound a certain way and to follow certain topics and say certain things. We have an obligation to our community to present the news in a certain way because we are within the confines of the FCC. Mm-hmm. And we have a public service to this community. That's why, when there's big political news and we've got a snowstorm, we spend quite a bit of time on the snowstorm because we provide a public service. We talk about local issues because that's our responsibility to our community. With your license, that is free, by the way. It's not free. It's a long story to explain how it works. But with your license that is regulated through the government, there are certain community obligations that you have to fulfill. And when you're a big broadcast network like ABC, one of those obligations is to not present a lie as if it were true.
I find all of this very fascinating.
It's a very big deal.
Yeah,
and
I find all of this very fascinating as sort of a normal person who you put in front of a mic, and I've learned the hard way because I've said some things before that were apparently not allowed.
Just fenestrate. Yeah.
Defenestrate, yes, that's the theme of today's defenestrate. But yeah, no, I mean he doesn't seem to understand that sort of sacred obligation that he has to just tell the truth. I mean,
that's right.
He has chosen a lane. Despite being late. And it's theoretically a comedy slot. He's not a comedian. He's not funny.
It's not a funny show.
He's not trying to be
funny. It's topical. It's obsessed with politics. It's obsessed with news. And we've seen survey after survey that a certain demographic get most of their news from late-night comedy shows.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. So here's cut two. This is Jimmy Kimmel. Number one, original sin. Hey, let's tell a joke that's framed around the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That should have never made it past the writer's room. But number two, to set up the joke, he has to say this.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Now, not only is it a lie, and not only is it mean-spirited, and not only does it disinform and misinform, and was contrary to the facts that we knew at the time, let alone the next day when he could have apologized and corrected the record, and he didn't. Let's not forget it took 48 hours for ABC to finally do something. Mm-hmm. But also embedded into that statement is an implicit message that Charlie Kirk basically created the environment that led to his own assassination.
Yeah, blaming Charlie for his own murder.
That's right.
Post facto. Yeah, no,
that's
absolutely.
Right. It was one of Charlie's own that did it.
Yep.
That's just despicable.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, all of this is despicable. I mean, this was, and as soon as Charlie died, I thought to myself, this is going to get so nasty. And of course, there's all these conspiracy theories immediately that the Jews did it. And that was predictable.
Yes.
But it's like, it's a day ending in Y.
The blaming the Jews in Israel was predictable, almost as predictable as who would blame the Jews in Israel.
And narrator was Candace Owens. Marjorie Taylor Greene. But this was a little bit of a curveball. Because they seemed to not understand the room and that they couldn't lie in the same shameless way that they normally can.
Right.
because a man was killed in front of his family.
Well, and as you said earlier, they live in a protective bubble, a cocoon,
Yes.
an echo chamber,
Yes.
where there's no one in the room that says, hey, guys, you know what? This is how this is going to come across elsewhere. And then and by the way, they should change that. ABC should change that.
Yep.
There are a lot of talented people out there who write very funny material, and they could also benefit from a nice job at a show like this. The problem is, if they were in that room, they would be so demeaned and ostracized, and it would be such a hostile work environment that I think ABC prefers the echo chamber. But here's how bad this standard is. So that's Jimmy Kimmel, late-night host making millions of dollars on a broadcast network. Let me give you a contrast here in terms of, I can't believe I'm doing this, but in terms of responsibility and people acting responsibly, Rosie O'Donnell is unemployed right now. She has left the country. She is a borderline bipolar lunatic right now. But she did a selfie Instagram video claiming that the Minnesota Catholic school shooter was a MAGA kid, just like Jimmy Kimmel just did. And that was wrong. That was a lie. Rosie O'Donnell showed more integrity the next day. Take a listen to this, cut 3.
But you are right. I did not do my due diligence before I made that emotional statement. And I said things about the shooter that were incorrect. I assumed, like most shooters, they followed a standard MO and had standard, feelings of NRA-loving kind of gun people. Anyway, the truth is, I messed up, and when you mess up, you fess up. I'm sorry. This is my apology video, and I hope it's enough.
There you go. Jimmy Kimmel couldn't even bring himself to do that. Rosie O'Donnell on Instagram showing more integrity and more responsibility.
I chafe at when she said the standard MO. I'm like,
yeah, I know. She couldn't even do that.
It's not standard.
It's not at all. But
the standard MO is transgender. But okay, fine, whatever.
So, of course, the reaction has been that this is an assault on the First Amendment and free speech, and this is the authoritarian, totalitarian, fascist. They're back to calling him a fascist again. Donald Trump and Brendan Carr, and conservatives shouldn't show any glee or excitement or celebration about this, because when a Democrat is in power one day, what if they do this to conservatives? What if they do this to talk show hosts? Let me tell you something. I can't think of a more ignorant statement ever uttered in my life. Have you not been paying attention to the last 4 decades in this business, from the advertiser boycotts, the attempts to get Rush Limbaugh off the air after the Oklahoma City bombing because Bill Clinton accused him of that, trying to get Glenn Beck off the air because the Gabby Gifford shooting, we were told, was his fault, to the people who lost their jobs because they said, gee, wearing this mask doesn't seem to make sense, and you certainly shouldn't fire somebody if they don't get a vaccine. The people who have lost their jobs in my business, and those of us who still have somehow survived, that have to look over our shoulder as we utter every single syllable live without the benefit of writers and producers and editing like Jimmy Kimmel has, that we have to do this in real time because we know that the slightest little slip up that we say on the air on radio or as a commentator on cable news will end a career and take 100%. Food off your children's table. You have got to be kidding me if you say that we now need to be worried. Give me a freaking break.
Are you allowed to say that?
I said freaking.
No, I mean, I remember when I used to work at Commentary Magazine, there were a bunch of boxes everywhere, and it was because we were audited by Obama's IRS.
There you go.
Just
commentary. You crazy radical Tea Party.
Yep. And let me tell you, like, that was one of my first real big grown-up jobs, was at Commentary Magazine, like 15 years ago or so. And that was radicalizing, but it was also terrifying because if you make one misstep, you know that you're in the government's crosshairs. And so for them to suddenly be like gnashing their teeth because Brendan Carr made, by all appearances, what he did was he said something on Benny Johnson's show. Yeah. Like, come on, boys. Welcome to the party. And this is, again, they don't know how the government has been weaponized against us.
They know. They're liars. They know. They know full well. They're in bed with Media Matters for America. They know exactly the advertiser boycotts.
Yeah.
They know exactly what happened. Jen Psaki admitted it from the podium that they worked with social media companies to deplatform people if they dared question Joe Biden and the vaccine mandate. It's just all right, hold that. We got a little bit more on this. It's 6:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Follow the money. In August, Nexstar, the largest owner of TV stations, local TV stations in the country, announced that they wanted to purchase their rival Tegna for more than $6 billion. Now, in order for that deal to go through, Nexstar would need the approval of the Federal Communications Commission. And, in fact, they would need the FCC to lift the cap, 39%
This is Jake
cap.
Tapper last night from his kitchen putting out an Instagram video explaining that this was really just a move because the syndication companies like Nexstar and Sinclair want to cozy up with the FCC so they can make billions of dollars. Jake Tapper discovering that he's in a commercial business suddenly, and that there's money involved in broadcasting, that, you know, someone has to pay for those beautiful lights and all those makeup and hair people to make him look pretty. But let me tell you something. Jake Tapper showing his outrage in an Instagram selfie video about Jimmy Kimmel getting fired. As usual, Jake Tapper, the duplicitous journalist that he is, and I know you appear on his show, so I don't want to compromise you, Bethany, but the fact of the matter is what Jake Tapper didn't tell you during his video was that Jimmy Kimmel had a very exclusive birthday party at his home in Long Island last year, and there was only about 30 people invited, super exclusive, high-end Hollywood big wig stuff. Jake Tapper was invited.
That's nice. Good for him.
As Stephen Miller, the journalist and media commentator, not the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, as Stephen Miller pointed out, you either choose to be a journalist or you choose to be a Hollywood celebrity and hobnob with the like. You can't do both. And Jake Tapper is trying to do both, and we see right through it. Okay, Jake? Also, Jake didn't turn on his camera and do a heartfelt selfie video from his kitchen when Charlie Kirk was murdered. You know, you pick and choose what really upsets you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's part of these elites, and it makes a lot of sense that, I mean, this is the bubble of, you know, so much of why I was devastated was because all of my friends were devastated because this is my social circle and this is the pond that I swim in. Yeah. But he swims in a different pond.
This is Jake Tapper's pond.
Yeah, he swims in a different pond. His friend was indefinitely suspended. Ours was murdered in cold blood in front of his family. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you say potato, I say potato. But this is, this is not, I appreciate that we have receipts on all of the times that he celebrated other conservative people being defenestrated.
Yes.
Am I getting like a payout every time I say defenestrated on air?
Yes, the cash register just changed. Yes, I'm defenestrated.
I have a theory that here in Washington, there's certain songs that when they're played, it's like a secret signal to some like sort of intelligence agency to like press a button or something.
I'm going to work that into my next spy novel. I love that. No, you are absolutely spot on with the reaction here and the selective outrage that you're seeing about this. And understand something. This has been Jimmy Kimmel's MO for years now. He has not hidden his politics. He's been forthright and outright anti-Republican, anti-Trump, anti-conservative, and in the most mean-spirited way, he has been the worst of them all. And he has felt no repercussions up until this point. In fact, he's been elevated. He got to host the Emmys. He got to host the Oscars. All of these platforms that he was given. And it's a funny thing. You know, they talk about Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson or other people who have in one way or another found themselves on the outs with their network. And guess what they did? They went independent. They went to the free market, and they ended up succeeding. Tucker and Megyn make more money now than they did when they worked for Fox or NBC. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure if Jimmy Kimmel were that good and that talented and there was that much demand, he could do his own live video streaming comedy show, and it would be hugely successful. Or it'll be just as successful as it was on ABC. which is not so successful. And by the way, real fast, and we've got David Bozell from Media Research Center to talk about this coming up in a moment. But for everybody who's saying, if they were smart, they'd bring Gutfeld over, or they'd hire a conservative comedian and they do a conservative comedy show. You know what? I understand that sentiment, but here's what I really hope they do. Let's have a late night talk show that doesn't have any politics.
That's funny.
That's funny and just wants to entertain. In fact, maybe they should hire somebody like this guy.
Tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, any comedian used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But you're not. Why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? That's a danger.
Yep.
It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people, and I don't think you should as an entertainer.
God, Johnny Carson, we need you now more than ever before. What a wise observation about what business he was in.
But the problem is they get big heads and they think that they need to have political opinions in order to swim in the ponds with Jake Tapper.
But Johnny had good producers around him who kept him in check and kept his ego in check and said, that's not what you do here.
Yeah.
And he listened, and that's why he will always be the gold standard. And to a lesser degree, but pretty close, Jay Leno, who has recently said the exact same thing.
Yep.
It's 6:23. Coming up, we'll continue on the discussion of Jimmy Kimmel, the FCC, and what's next with David Bozell, Media Research Center.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
What a time to be alive. It's 6:37. It's O'Connor and Company, and thank you for joining us here on this Thursday morning version, 17th day of September. Coming up at 7:05, Chuck Thies, D.C. political analyst. A lot going on with the D.C. crime bills now making their way through the House. 8:05, K.T. McFarland on Trump's trip to jolly old England. And then at 8:35, Steve Moore, heritage economist, on the interest rate drop yesterday. Modest one, but let's see what it means. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor with Bethany Mandel.
Good morning, Larry.
And joining us right now, friend of the program, David Bozell, Media Research Center. David, I think it's fair to say that Media Research Center can sort of sit up straight today and recognize the good work that your team does there in pulling clips. Is it Nick Fondacaro who's in charge of the late night shows? Because when I saw the odious remarks from Jimmy Kimmel, it was on a Newsbusters Media Research Center reel.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. Hi, Bethany. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
No, this one was Alex Christie. He's got the late night beat. Nick's got the Nick's unfortunately has the beat with the View.
Oh, that's right. You make him watch The View. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, good job, Alex.
But Alex is having a bang-up year. I mean, he's got Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert, and he's got two scalps.
Does this come with hazard pay when you make them do these things? This sounds terrible.
If they watch it, so we don't have to. You have to be a different kind of crazy to get to do this sort of thing. So, but I love them, and they're great.
Well, David, here's the thing. As a conservative commentator, as you are, as I am, as a conservative broadcaster for that matter, I certainly don't want people to lose their job over political speech. Is that what happened here, or is there something else going on here? And what do we know about the FCC's involvement, if any involvement?
Well, I don't remember Jake Tapper or anybody in the media ever complaining when the federal government took over 1/6 of the economy, with Obamacare and mandated, that all health insurance have to cover abortifacients. I don't remember anybody ever complaining about that kind of government overreach ever. Mm-hmm. So I don't really want to hear it from left wingers about did the government go too far here. Now, Brandon Carr didn't threaten anything. It appears that two of the affiliate networks, Nexstar and Sinclair, had enough that grassroots Americans across the country had enough. They did not want to have a guy like Jimmy Kimmel beamed into their television screens. They were willing to cut the cord. But Sinclair and Nexstar, they're trying to preserve the cord, as it were, right? That's their business model, cable.
Yeah.
And they don't want people cutting their cord. And Kimmel was in the cord. And so you gotta make sure the guys that go on broadcast are accurate, and in this case, funny. And his comment and the Trump video part of the comment I could live with, but the comment obviously about MAGA and how we were protecting this killer because he was one of us is just beyond the pale.
Yeah,
and people had enough with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, and I think that's an important distinction that I think Brendan Carr needs to come out in front of, the degree to which he was or was not involved in this. Do you have any sense, what his response is going to be? Because he's basically being painted as like Hitler part, 300,000 by virtue of being such a free speech villain.
Well, to me, he's the one regulator in the city who understands his primary role, which is to protect the American consumer.
Yeah.
And then by extension, the broadcast companies. That's kind of one of his chief jobs. I think I'm speculating because I don't know the answer really, but I'm speculating. My guess is that affiliate companies called Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, and said, "What are our options? You're the chairman of the FCC. What can we do?"
Yeah. And
it may have been pitched by the chairman of the FCC, like, this is an idea. Like, you could threaten to blockade his show. But I don't remember Brendan Carr ever threatening federal intervention.
Speaking with David Bozell of Media Research Center, president of the Media Research Center, there's also this other strain of defense for Jimmy Kimmel, saying it's a comedy show, it's a monologue, it's like, this isn't like journalism. But y'all at MRC have been tracking the influence and importance of these late night shows and how political and how news oriented they have become. It is disingenuous at best to say that this is just a comedian telling jokes, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's disingenuous at best. I mean, every time anyone gets on television now, you have an opportunity to go viral, and so their daily evening ratings may not be what they were, but they can go viral for any moment, at any time, and be watched by millions of people. So remember the YouGov poll that came out after in the couple days after Charlie. Majority of the country believed that he was MAGA. That the assassin was MAGA in the YouGov poll, and we all kind of looked at that, kind of shocked, like, well, how could people believe this? Well, because Kimmel, one of the reasons, I don't want to put it, completely on Kimmel, but one of the reasons is that a major talk show host with a major monologue on Monday said it was MAGA, that the assassin was MAGA, and so some of this is, and that'll get remedied over the next couple of days as stories about the indictment. And the indictment's pretty clear that he was anything but. So as stories about the indictment start to percolate out there, those numbers should reverse. But the press knows that if you are first and fast, and entertainment media knows the same thing. If you are first and fast, people might believe you. And Jimmy was the first late night host on the Monday, because everybody takes Friday off, on the Monday night, to brand it, and branded this assassin as MAGA. Yeah. And it's just totally unfair. So the YouGov poll suggesting that a majority of the country believed him is evidence of how powerful they still can be.
Yep, incredibly influential. David Bozell, thanks for jumping in on this story, a big media story. And once again, Media Research Center have their fingerprints on the research and exposing exactly what's going on here, and always effective. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
It's 6:44.
Later this morning on the Chris Plante Show, Barack Obama says since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, we're in a political crisis. You'll never believe who he blames. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
There's a list of people who find themselves on the unemployment line, and let's just say, shall we, going independent, Bethany Mandel. You've got your Joy Reid, you've got your Terry Moran, you've got your, how quickly I forget her name, the Washington Post crazy woman who we were told was a conservative.
Taylor
Jennifer
Lorenz?
Jennifer Rubin. The other crazy woman, Taylor Lorenz.
There's
yes,
so
also.
many crazies.
Wait,
Jen Rubin left the Washington Post?
Oh, she was fired from the Washington Post.
Oh, that's right. Now she's at this,
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say, I have some information on this now that I'm digging back into my brain. It's like a layer, and I've done
an onion.
So she's on Substack and actually making what I've heard is a great deal of money on Substack.
Well, they do, and I was going to get to that. Yeah, Jim Acosta as well, and they do. They go Substack, and they actually make a bit of coin there on their Substacks, which is good for them. Kate, God bless them.
Speaking of which, themomwars.substack.com. Subscribe and help me make some money.
And please help clothe her children because the hand-me-downs are really getting worn.
Many of them.
So those are all stories of people who have lost their jobs very recently in the last 6 to 9 months, who are independent now, and they're doing okay. They're not doing Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson okay, Joe Rogan okay, but they're doing okay. And then there's Don Lemon. Don Lemon, God bless him, just can't quite figure it out. He has been a disaster. And every time he turns on his camera and tries to do something, he just exposes the fact that anything you saw from Don Lemon was really a product of the staffing and production team that CNN hired to put around him. Here he is yesterday reacting in real time to Jimmy Kimmel's suspension and revealing that he's just not that smart. Cut 13. Listen.
Jimmy Kimmel, they're trying to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sure you've heard the news by now. But I've been going through the internet looking for the clips to see what they're mad or upset about, and I can't find it. I can't find it. The one that they have on there, I don't see where that's even controversial.
He doesn't know how to use the search engine on his internet.
So here's my opinion.
Yes.
Jen Rubin actually probably makes millions of dollars on Substack because she has a work ethic. I don't like her. I don't like any of her content, but golly, can she churn it out. Sure. Don Lemon actually has no talent and no work ethic.
Right.
And so he has sort of faded into obscurity and can't understand how to use the internet without an assistant.
I think you're 100% right.
So
that is correct.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
I do love that he turns his own camera on to display to the world what a moron he is.
I know, he's such a boomer.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is when you're not entertaining. At least Jen Rubin, for all of her faults, is, she's an entertaining human. Well, I think that she's a crazy person.
Well, and what she does, she can take those talents and go independent.
Right,
Here's the thing. Don Lemon can't with the talent, because his talent was to sit and read a teleprompter in a mode. But someone needs to put something in the teleprompter, you see. Same with Kimmel and Colbert, by the way. Everyone's like, if they're so popular, if they're so great, Netflix will pick them up. Amazon Prime will pick them up. Or they can just go independent and do their own thing and sell advertising. But they won't, because it takes a lot of money to hire the staff and production to make them look good. Right? And that ain't going to happen. Yep. By the way, as a public service to Don Lemon, since you had so much trouble actually searching on the internet to find it, here, this is what you're looking for. Cut 14.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Yeah, that's what got Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely suspended, Don. And now you can go ahead and do your show. No one's watching. 6:53.